Friday is fine on Friday, Friday is fine on Friday, Friday is fine on Friday,
Yes,
Friday is fine on Friday,
Listen.
Friday is fine on Friday, Friday is fine on Friday, Friday is fine on Friday,
I'm fine, you're fine.
Friday
Are
is
you ready
fine
for
on
this?
Friday, Friday is fine on Friday, Friday is fine on Friday, Friday
How
is
you
fine
feeling,
on
Pete?
Friday, Friday
It's
is
fine on Friday.
Friday is fine on Friday, Friday
Yo.
is fine on Friday,
Deep fine
Friday is
inside
fine
the
on
ride. Like this and show me inside. Boom selection. Deep fine on the mic, moves and one. Riding outside. Inside the ride. Hold on with Friday. Deep fine in the place, that's what we say. It's the sound of your life. You like the sound and show me inside. Oh! Yes, peeps. Yes. It's all about the vibes. It's all about the vibes, man. Yeah, all right. It's Friday, and it's fine on Friday. Not fine because it's Friday. Fine on Friday, people. What are you saying? What are you saying? I hope you've had a good week. And I hope you are setting yourself up for a good weekend also. Not just because it's the weekend, but because it's a continuation of the week. Make sure that your week is as cherished and as beautiful and as empowering and as strong as your weekend. Don't separate the two. Don't live in misery and hell for 5 days, blow out on the weekend, and then come back to Monday coming down and punishing yourself because you've got 5 more days of hell. That ain't the way, peeps. That ain't the way. Tried it, been there, done that. I ain't got that t-shirt anymore. Burned it, mate. Burned it. So, yes, I hope you're all well. I hope you're all good. I hope you're all fine. The Fine podcast, Fine on Friday. The Friday skit. The mini towards the end of the week podcast. And some more babbling from myself. That I hope you will find interesting. I hope you will give it food for thought. I hope it is food for thought, to empower your thinking, to kind of introduce maybe a bit of a paradigm shift in the way that you think and the way that you view life. Not that I'm trying to give you any belief systems. I don't roll with that. I would rather give you something to consider, something to contemplate, but don't believe me. You have to check this out for yourself. We've all come through the same education system of being told all of this stuff. And in our innocent, our pure, and our infant minds, we took all of the things that we were told on board as truth. Yet, here we are at this day and age, 2021, nearly 2022, and so many issues that people are struggling with, that people are suffering with, that in reality are purely within themselves. I came to a realization, and if any of you that watch these podcasts or listen to my podcasts, even if any of you here listen to my podcasts, that that know me from when I used to MC in the clubs and I used to MC in the rave scene, and one of the things that I kind of started saying is, don't come here looking for the vibes. Bring the vibes with you. And I hark back to my younger days. Not that I'm old, but, when I was a little bit younger. And when I would go out clubbing or whatever, and I'd go out with friends and stuff like this, and I would go out looking for a good time. I would literally go out looking for a good time. And this is a complete misunderstanding about who you are, about your core essence, your fundamental truth. And we are essentially educated to think like this. It's like one of the things that I came across, and you will have probably heard it said many a time over the years yourself, you may well have even said it, is do what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy. Now, let's just look at this sort of statement for a minute. In order for you to do what makes you happy, in order for you to go out looking for a good time, you have to come from a place of unhappiness. You have to come from a place of bad times. Basically, it's like saying that where you are now isn't good. It isn't good enough. It's not happy. So in order for you to go out to enjoy yourself, in order for you to be with people or do things that make you happy, this means that you are not happy. Your default, your fundamental core way of being is unhappy. The only way you can go out looking for things to make you happy, and the only way you can go out looking for a good time, is if where you are right now isn't good enough, or you are unhappy, you are sad where you are right now. It can't be any other way. Think about it. Go deeper than your logical mind. Logical mind will say to you, do what makes you happy. Thank God it's Friday. No, it doesn't work like that. And if you think about an experience that you had that made you happy. Think about an experience that made you happy, that for all this time in your head, the experience made you happy, right? And it wasn't actually the experience that made you happy, but the experience that you were having at that time kind of distracted you from all that mental bullshit that constantly drags us down, that constantly brings us down. Let's say you go somewhere and there's a certain type of music that you can't stand, right? You can't stand this certain type of music, but you end up in this place and there's no way of you getting out, right? You can't leave. You've got to stay there, yeah? And you've got to listen to this music that you detest, right? It's just going to sound like noise to you. It's going to sound like noise. Or you might be in the presence of people and there's just so much noise, and it's going to drive you insane. It's going to really kind of make you sad, depressed, and maybe even angry to some extent, right? So the noise is what's in your mind. It's the noise that's making you unhappy. So now let's think about this from another perspective. Let's look at this from another perspective. Unless you have started to make efforts to understand your mind, to go to kind of steer your mind into silence, into peace, that inner peace, unless you have started to acknowledge this inner peace within you, then you are going to be constantly hearing this mental noise. And this is the noise that's depressing. This is the noise that brings us down. This is the noise that drives us to have to listen to things to go to sleep, that drives us to have to blast our music on a day-to-day basis. How many of you cannot get through a day without having background noise? And if you do get through a day without background noise, how much time do you give yourself to absolute silence? No music playing, no conversation, no distractions with your mobile phone and social media or anything like this. just pure silence, just you in your being. How many of you actually give yourself to this? And, the reason why we don't do it on a regular basis is because we constantly seek distractions, because our default, not by choice, not by conscious choice, but our default is unhappiness. So in order to sort of give us something to feel good about, we seek out these distractions. We seek out these things to keep us distracted from the noise that's going on in our minds. It's the only noise that we cannot get away from. So because we can't get away from it, we have to either distract ourselves from it, or we have to learn to understand how we can tame it. We can dull it down. We can reduce that noise. So we don't go out looking for happiness. We bring the happiness with us. And when you go somewhere and you have convinced yourself that this experience, this event, these people, this food that you've just eaten, this program that you've just watched, whatever, when you sit there and you convince yourself that this is what's making you happy, no, it's not what's making you happy. Happiness has come from within you because you have distracted yourself from that nonsense. And it's come from within you into this moment. You've realized your own happiness. And, you might think that your favorite music is making you happy, but it's not. You have just allowed yourself to not be distracted by your nonsense, and your happiness, your truth has shone forth for that time, for that moment. This is like when you are in high spirits. To be in high spirits is basically your truth has kind of found a window of opportunity to reveal itself, and you have become aware of it. But because we have been educated in a certain way, we kind of convince ourselves that our happiness is because of something that is outside of us, but it's not. Our happiness comes from within us because we have chosen not to be distracted by the nonsense in our minds. And going back to what I said before, if you go somewhere and you are surrounded by people that you don't like, or you're listening to music that you're not into, or, all these kind of things where you feel sad, you feel enclosed, you feel like you've got to get out, it's not because of the experience that it's making you feel this way. It's because of what's going on in your mind. And you can try this. I'm going to finish this with a bit of a story. I'm going to tell you a story. I used to work in a factory, going back some years, about 20 years or so, when I was about 10. And at Christmas, it was Christmas, 1 year at Christmas. And so obviously at Christmas time, and all the radio stations that we were listening to in the factory were playing all these Christmas songs. And I remember having a conversation with somebody, and I heard myself basically saying, I hate Christmas songs. Does my head in listening to all these songs, blah, 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 blah. This is what I was saying. But then, moments later, I caught myself singing, so here it is, Merry Christmas. And, or it might have been some other song, I don't remember. But whatever song it was, I knew all the words. So then I suddenly had this thought, well, actually, if I hate all these songs, how is it that I, number one, know all the words, and number two, that I'm now finding myself singing along to the songs? And this was a bit of a realization for me, because then I started to realize that actually this idea of me hating the music and stuff, this is just an idea that I have, but it can't be true. Because if this genuinely was a hate, a dislike, or whatever for this music, I couldn't find it within me to participate in it. to kind of appreciate it. If you're singing along to a song, then it means you're appreciating it. Basically, it can't be any other way. You're not going to sing a song, I could, if I didn't like it, then I'd be like, so here it is, Merry Christmas, everybody's having fun. It don't work. So the moral of the story is, it's the dialogue, it's the script, it's the nonsense that distracts us, and it's the distraction that we actually don't like. It's, and when I'll rephrase that, it's when we are being distracted by the mind, that's what we don't like. That's what we want to escape from. But when our distraction is coming from outside of us, meaning it's distracting us from the mind, this is like the window that our inner truth wants to reveal itself, that our spirit, our aliveness wants to show us that it actually is there and it's coming from within us. Don't give your happiness to any external experience. Don't give your happiness to people. Don't give your happiness to things. Your happiness is yours. Take it with you wherever you go. And that's it for this Fine on Friday. Tune in to my podcast on Sunday. I might just actually elaborate on this one. We'll see. We will see. But tune into my podcast, the Feeling Fine podcast. And until next time, I will see you later. Peace.
Friday, it's fine on Friday, Friday, it's fine on Friday, Friday, it's fine on Friday, Friday,
it's fine on Friday,
Friday, it's fine on Friday, Friday, it's fine on Friday, Friday,
enjoy yourself,
it's fine on Friday.